Hello and welcome back to Banner Saga. By my ear, the last two episodes were a little bit loud with the game audio in the mix, so I turned that down a little bit. I haven't actually uploaded any of it yet, so I'm a little concerned the music may get caught out for copyright, but frankly at this point, if it gets claimed, it gets claimed. I just don't want it getting taken down or struck. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Interesting, in the meantime, I have not saved and quit or anything. The passing ships have passed. I thought it was just going to keep running, but it didn't. So, let's go down to the docks. Wagner? A familiar Varl steps onto the docks. In your mind, you recall a much younger version tramping the halls of Grofheim, abundant in purpose. God, Zubin, you're looking ancient. Comes with being old. And if there is a Wagner there, and if there is Wagner, there must be Hakan. Must there be? Dude. Really? This is the first shot of this guy as your fucking elbow in his face? Still bleeding tributes from the poor and stupid old yaks. At what age do you lose a sense of shame? Okay, so I talked about this a little bit in the last episode of the issues with the writing, but it's made worse by the jargon. I appreciate it in terms of a world building thing, but especially with it not being voiced, it's hard even to identify. Well, it's definitely hard to identify inflection, but even more so, it's to a less visible but more important extent, it's hard to identify even what part of speech it necessarily is being used as, or what it's referring to. So, yeah. Just leads to more time trying to figure out what's going on. Jorundur demands it. I'll take that over lingering to death in Grofheim. Okay, so I'm assuming Grofheim is a city. I'm assuming that Jorundur is like a deity of some kind. Speaking of, I had no sense that you were so far from home. Just returned from that's hard to say, Arborang, in fact. I'm glad for it. Hakan mentions to the other ships in the bay, sails still fluttering. Golden wolf head emblazoned on red. The king of men, or someone on his behalf. The king's whelp. The king's son, Ludin. Don't you know Scrivener? His capital, he visits ours. That's how you make alliances these days. It's a miserable waste of time. Yes, Hakan has it. I'd almost forgotten. It's a good thing you're around, Hakan. Then you're going to Grofheim? I have the distinct feeling I've finished my business in Strand and was headed there myself. We should caravan. We should. Give it a day. In better circumstances, I'd drink a week away, but let's just be done. Find me tomorrow at the gates. What he's trying to say is the prince is a delight to behold. Again, inflection. Like, I don't know if I assume he's being sarcastic there, but I don't know. Where is Moger? Hakan, have him find a place to put up the warriors. I'm heading up to meet the governor. A host of giants depart in his wake. You recognize a few, others are strangers to you. Guess I'm off to find Moger. See you in the morning, Scrivener. I'll be along. The young prince of men ambles from his ship. He brushes off his tunic, scanning the beach with low eyelids. Ludin looks for all the world the sort of boy who grew up pulling the legs from spiders. See, it's got the writing's got moments. That's like, I don't have to see them. That's incredibly descriptive in like just a sentence. Or, well, a couple of sentences, but specifically that phrase. Ludin looks for all the world the sort of boy who grew up pulling legs from spiders. The long road back to Grofheim should be more interesting than most years, you think. What? I'm not... Okay. Weariness suddenly settles in, and you chuckle to yourself about what an odd day it has been. One of the governor's men at the Great Hall could find you a place to sleep. On the other hand, if you're going to join Wagner's caravan tomorrow, it might not hurt to share a drink with Hakan, or introduce yourself to the prince they spoke so highly of. Or... click a talk icon to converse with one of your heroes. One of your heroes? Does that imply... I think what that means is these guys are going to join my party. In some sense or another. But that's very... I mean, that's like 3 steps away from what it just told me. And I don't know if I'm picking one or the other, or this is just a do both. It's unclear. Scrivener. You find Hakan in a mead house surrounded by other Varl. Strand is no stranger to Varl, but rarely sees this many. Hakan waves you over. Went straight for a flagon? Wagner's the one who agreed to pass up a drink. I wasn't invited to the governor's hall anyway. You already missed the massacre. Every year I make the rounds collecting taxes. Every year it's the human settlements that give me trouble. No surprise. What this time? When I got here, the Great Hall was already full of bodies. We added a few more. Ha, humans. I guess if I only lived as long as a Yox fart, I might be desperate. Ah, fuck. I didn't mean to click that. Can I... Well, that's... Wait, what? One, it's weird that I can scroll. Can I pick where I can pick where I zoom to. Although it corrects. But there's also parallaxing. Why is there parallaxing? That's so weird. I mean, that sort of explains why his elbow was in his face before, although it wouldn't have fixed it if I had zoomed in. It would have exacerbated it, I think. Based on how it's using the focal depth. Weird. I was trying to see if I could scroll back the same way you do in like a visual novel, but it's not too late to start trying, Hakan. Hakan lets slip a low chuckle. Any Varl could recount his deeds, known as he is for cutting a swath through Dredge at Wagner's side in the Second War, and regularly since then. Ugh, God, that sentence is mangled. Down here, I'm a glorified bodyguard. You might have a point. Just another reason to get back to Grofheim. Soon enough, I imagine. You drink until the mead house becomes overbearing, then step back into the cool air outside. Also, does the order of operations matter here? I don't know. Do I get info from one that might influence my interactions with the other? It'd be interesting, but I'd be a little surprised. Is this the right place? You find the prince at an inn. At an inn. Guards blanket the building, including a sharp-eyed Varl who must be working for Luden. A woman in red eventually waves you over and stands nearby, arms crossed. Greetings, Princess Luden. Princess. Yeah, it's Princess Luden now. Yes, you're with Wagner? I don't remember you. Not exactly. I've known Wagner a long time. I'll be joining you back to Grofheim with my guards. I gotta say, this music is like really... It's not bad, it's just like, it's sharp in the ear. It's not... It doesn't blend into the background in the way that it ought to. Actually, if they just took out the vocals, it would fix it. Luden looks up for the first time. The woman doesn't react. Why? I work for the king, carrying ties to the capital. We crossed by chance. Oh, a tax collector. Fine company. What do you want? I have a habit of recording history. I thought we might talk about your visit. A Varl historian. Aha, don't you already know? Your king and mine both have been practically trumpeting it throughout the cities. I've been on the road a while, I'm afraid. Ludin takes a deep sigh. Whether tired or ungracious, you aren't certain. Maybe both. A formality, mostly. Wagner came to our capital in Arnbang, and now we go to the Varl's capital in Grafheim to cement this grand alliance for the next age of man and Varl. You sound unconvinced. There's no need for it, and it's damned cold up here. You get the sense he's struggling not to complain outright. You take the opportunity to excuse yourself. I find myself in both of those interactions coming away from them unsatisfied with I don't know, they seem a little, the interactions seem a little half-baked. I do wonder what would happen if I had just gone straight to the Great Hall instead. -1 supplies. Okay. That could have stayed on screen a little longer so I knew what it was, but glad I caught it. At dawn you're awoken by a delivery of goods. At least you think it's dawn. Damn hard to tell with a sun that never moves. With a sun that never moves. That's an interesting world-building point. The governor's crest adorns the supply leathers. All there, just as promised, to your mild surprise. You wonder if Eric had anything to do with that. Your guards take the treasure wagon down to the gates. Wagner is already here. A while later, Ludin and his men appear, groggy and disheveled. Mogr steps forward. Wagner's quartermaster, if you recall correctly, in charge of his unwieldy entourage of warriors. You know him only in passing. He asks if you're ready to depart. We are ready. Follow Mogr and join the others. Usually the smaller doors set into the gates would be enough to enter or leave the city, but the town guards have been told to push them open entirely. They mutter things under their breath that are best not heard. Perhaps the governor expected you to draw a crowd, but there's nothing of the sort. Just frustrated, tired people. It summarizes Strand well as a whole, you think? That is a big banner. And impossible by laws of physics, but hey, whatever. I mean, a piece of cloth that big would have to. I mean, the wind would have to be blowing like probably hundreds of miles an hour, because that's like, I don't know. If I'm being generous, that's got to be like what, 100 pounds of cloth on the like liberal side of things. Several hundred pounds of cloth, if I'm not. It's like the I forget what it is. There's like an old physics paradox that has to do, well, there's a version of it which is the like lever of infinite length, but there's the chain of infinite length, or of undetermined length as well, which is like for every amount of chain that you extend, you both have to, you gain length, but you also gain weight, and so you also have, like, it becomes progressively harder to lift by virtue of its length. Anyway, I'm not explaining it very well. Yeah. The caravan stops for the day. A gift, says Mogr, cracking open mead casks. From our gracious friend, the governor of Strand. Hours pass with raucous laughter as the mead is passed throughout the camp. Let's play it conservative. Drink a little. You go easy. You've nothing against a good drink, but if anyone is going to keep an eye on things, it may as well be you. The revelers eventually fall asleep without incident. Morale improved. Those things really need to stay on screen longer. This isn't even installed on my SSD, so it's not like it's loading too fast or something. You rise groggily. The campsite a casualty of merriment. Mogra is already kicking warriors awake when you spot Ludin stalking your direction. He sidesteps sleeping bodies. Better wake up, you nudge Wagner. You're needed. Ah, it's Ludin. Always a pleasure. You look well rested. Wagner releases a caged yawn and receives a hard-eyed stare in return. How long to Grafheim? Huh, we're only 2 days out of Strand, you know. Come, I'll show you on a map. This is a map of the world. You can explore it by dragging the mouse to pan and using the mouse wheel to zoom. Location of your caravan is indicated here by Ubin's icon. The world map is covered with many locations and holds much lore. You can explore the map. Oh, that's interesting. You can explore the map at any time, clicking on locations for more information. Oh man, are these all... I mean, there's not a lot of them, but there's more than a few. Wow, these are... Okay. That's a surprising amount of... I mean, from a development perspective, on the one hand, this is not a massive amount of work to write, like, a paragraph for each of these things, on the grand scheme of things, but it's also exactly the kind of thing that a lot of game developers would just not do. This map is not small either. That's pretty impressive. Vedderfell. Named bad weather. The gales that blow from the bay and around the mountain peaks keep Vedderfell in a generally unpleasant state. What really cemented the name was the kind of person who would live there. Men cast out from Strand for one reason or another, with nowhere else to go. Interesting. Why do I have to... Okay, that's odd. Last gate. The crossing of the small bridge leading from Vedderfell onto the wandering road marked a small but significant moment in which the Varl truly separated itself from humanity in search of their own lands. At the end of the wandering road, at the end of the First War, the Varl had more to contend with than mankind to the south. Above the Bradabrek peaks, comma, everybody forgets fucking commas. Above the Bradabrek peaks, the lands crawled with furious, war-minded dredge. The first Varl king, Einar, led the entire Varl race across the snowy fields of the wandering road, sweeping away dredge as they went, before forming the first Varl kingdom at Einartoft. Okay. And we're going where? Wait, what? Why do I've forgotten exactly what he said. Even though it's been repeated several times, but it wasn't Einartoft. I don't want to just go clicking around everything. I mean, I suppose we'll get there eventually one way or another, but like, I sort of wanted to... Did it start with a G? Huh. Okay, well, whatever. We'll get there. Hold on. Strand. Suppose anything comes to a bastion of racial tolerance. Both men and Varl compete to scratch out a living in this, the biggest trade city along the west coast. Many people still believe the god Dengler still watches over it, granting good fortune. Carlsford. Ford splitting off into Varl territory was named after Karl, the only Varl to ever become governor of Strand, albeit only for a short time before the title returned to the human families whose ancestors originally built the city. It's interesting, the lore, I mean, just as a differentiation from the norm, it's interesting that the lore seems to suggest that the humans were here first. Usually it's the humans who are the, you know, invaders or settlers or whatever, and it's the Varl would be the native race who are being pushed out or conflicted with in some form. That's enough of that for the moment. We head north, then east, past the forts. You know, this would be nice when we were looking at the map. We head north, then east, past the forts. Grafheim's far from Strand. Going to be a long march. Should have drank last night, Luden. Why not take the ships to Skursmerstead? What's the point of marching? The Silverstone Bay is called that for a reason. It stays covered in ice all year. It would tear up the longships. Too bad, though. We could have shown you all the wonders of Skymerstead. Half-sunken city crawling with dredge, Prince. Dredge and glaciers. You like glaciers? Luden exhales through the nose, a poor disguise for his contempt. He turns and bats aside the tent flaps as he goes, barking at his company in the distance. Don't poke the anthill, Wagner. He seems no happier to be here than you. Spend a few more days with the boy, old friend. You'll be looking for a tall cliff to hop off, too. Luden's got a shorter wick than Hakan. Thanks, Wagner. Let's get moving. Another half day to Vetterfell if we're lucky. Camp is where you manage your caravan. During travel, you can enter camp at any time by tapping the camp button on the travel HUD. While at camp or in towns, you can upgrade your allies or equip items in the hero's tent. You can pass time by using the rest tent. Resting will improve the caravan's morale. A high morale will reduce casualties in war and affect your willpower in combat. Each passing day will use supplies, so only rest when necessary. I mean, we've got a lot of supplies. How big of a deal is that? The training tent will allow you to safely try out any characters in a mock battle. Tap leave at the bottom of the campsite when you're ready to get back on the road. You know what's the craziest part about this? This is supposedly a fairly short game. Like under 10 hours. But there's like, it's setting it up like this is a 100-hour game, but it's not, by all accounts. So, one or more of your units is injured. Injured units can still fight, but have a penalty to max strength equal to the number of days wounded. Okay. The heal as time passes when resting in camp. Click on a unit to view stats, promote ranks, and learn about abilities. Click on the ability button to learn about the unit's abilities. Bring the pain. The character strikes an adjacent enemy for armor break damage before hunkering down and boosting his passive ability, Return the Favor, to return even more break damage for one turn. By using Bring the Pain, he can create a forward charge that punishes enemies for getting up against him. Interesting. Rank, oh, so there's multiple ranks. And that's what we're using our renown for. It's not telling me how to spend... Hold on, what is this? You gave me that tutorial, but then you didn't explain anything. What does this button do? What does this do? What does this do? What the fuck? Oh, that goes back. Okay. Points available 0. Nobody has any points. What does this button do? Ah, okay. So why is he at 9 out of 12? Does he not start with full... Why is everyone not at full health? Do we not automatically start combat with full... Or is that the maximum for the unit? Okay, so there's a button there, but it does nothing. It just makes noise. Is it the same for everyone? Okay. So there's a whole bunch of buttons here, and none of them seem to do anything. I mean, it's a Okay, let's see. Oh, click the plus and minus buttons to add and remove. Oh, they're just... Listen, game, if you're going to put this tutorial here, you need to give people points so that they know they get to... The first time they see it, they get to use the UI. Because I will bet good money that when we actually get some points, it's not going to tutorialize the point spend. It's just going to be like, you've seen this before, you know what to do, right? I mean, that would be at least be consistent with everything else the game's done thus far in terms of its method of tutorialization or lack thereof. Okay, that song's really starting to grate on me. Is there any way for me to heal you? I wish I knew what any of this did. What is this thing? It doesn't, that's not even labeled. Kills need to promote to the next rank. But I got kills. Do those not count now for no reason? Oh, you know what? None of the guys I made kills with made it to this point, came with me. It was the 2 humans that we left in Strand. And I get to sort my turn order. That's interesting. Why is that? Does that indicate combat? Is that what that indicates? I think that's what that's supposed to indicate. Let's see what the training tent is. Okay. Is this literally just a test? There's no way to back out of this? What? I can't... This is training, right? Can I not leave training? Please tell me at a minimum that this doesn't do permanent damage. Oh, there's an end training there. Why would you tell me this here when I'm already, like, all the way in? Ah, training tent. The training tent allows you to test your party against a team of clansmen of equal power. Training fights never injure your allies or grant renown, but they do let you test strategies and safety. The trainer will give hints about playing effectively and has something to say about each ability. Come here to test out new characters as they join you. Excuse me. To end training, click on end training or press escape to select the exit training action. Okay. This is a very odd layout. Sure, why not? Let's just do this. Wow, you took a lot of... How did you take so much damage? Huh. Add strength and armor damage to target and adjacent enemies. Sundering impact. Rank 1, 100% to hit. Strength damage +1, and 1 break to target, 1 break added to heavy impact. What? I don't know. I don't quite understand. Guess it's good that I tried it out then. Knock back 1 tile, target bleeds, and bleeds 1 strength per move on... Oh, per move on next turn. That's really powerful. Fascinating. Okay. Is he gonna hit his own... Okay, I guess this is as good a time as any to figure out whether I will accidentally do... Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it's highlighting the 2 squares it's gonna hit. That's interesting. So you gotta be careful that they're... Wait, why did that... Oh, do they... Those guys both have the return the favor. Okay. So I just kind of killed myself. Alright. This is a good learning experience. Break damage to target, +1 to return the favor for 1 round. It's interesting that since we... Oh. Why did he hit me? Because I... Why did he retaliate? Or was that his... No, that wasn't his turn. It wasn't his turn, was it? I guess it was. Because... It's my turn now, so I guess that was it. Alright. I still don't know what these fucking red numbers mean. Hold on. I don't understand. Is that the number of turns before he moves? But that's what I was thinking before, but that can't be it because there were other... In that previous battle, we were seeing things where multiple guys had the same number. I'm so confused. Huh. I could have spent willpower for that. Oh, that's... They just... Wow, it's very unceremonious when it switches whose turn it is. Huh. Okay, so the downside of this is if you do it and they don't move, then you've sort of wasted the... But I mean, who... At that point... Isn't it sort of negated by the fact that, like, if you walk up as Luden and hit this guy, that guy is, well, at least thus far, I've not seen any abilities that would change this. That guy is just going to stand there, because he's going to get his turn before Luden gets another. So he's going to stand, they're going to be standing next to each other, and then he's going to retaliate and not move to not take bleed damage. There's probably a bunch more mechanics that I don't know about yet that the game hasn't explained. Whatever, just for fun. Wait. It also does damage and pushback. That... How was I not aware of... Oh, causes knockback and target bleeds when moving. Grants self and adjacent allies +1 will. I'm so confused. This game kind of spreads its information all over the place. It's a little hard to follow. Achievement unlocked, Shield Master. Alright, I think that's just killing an enemy with a Shield Master. And one for War Master. Alright, I'm sort of... I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like I'm starting to get a handle on this. What is this percentage thing? Somebody needs to explain this shit to me. Why is it 60? What does 60% mean? It's interesting because if I can spend 2 will, I can triple my damage output. Purely based on my strength, the strength I have to... I still don't understand the math though. Because it's not conforming to what it said. He's got 12 armor and 2 health and 2 strength. Which should mean that my strength cannot go through his armor. Unless there's a minimum of 1? Is there a minimum damage? So assume if that's the case, then assuming you can spend will up to, well, your maximum will every turn. I mean, that's a 300% damage increase, and it just ignores the whole armor mechanic. Or a 200% damage increase, but total of 300% of the... You know what I mean. Well, I got my achievements out of the way. That was just training, but it got my achievements out of the way, because I got 3 achievements in that battle. Huh. Oh. I have 66 days of supplies now. How did that happen? We went through 2 days. I don't... Listen, game, you gotta explain this shit. I want to rest, but now I'm really concerned. And the fact that I can't reload means I can't experiment to figure out how this game works. presumably I could find where the saves are on my computer and just back them up manually, but I don't know. I've harped on this before. Don't take away options from me. Like, give me the option to make as many saves as I want, especially when it comes to strategy games and anything with punishing mechanics. Like, let me save scum if I want to. I assume if I click this, it's not going to tell me how much it's going to cost me. 6. Yeah, it said -6 supplies, but I'm at 65. What the fuck? What? What the fuck is that math? I went from 100 to 99 to 66, and I subtracted 12 and got 64. Is this value supposed to be the number, the days of supplies I have based on a number I can't see? Like let's assume I have a pool of food. And because my party size increased, even though the days of supplies I had didn't decrease, the pool now has to be split more ways because I have more people in the party. Is that what it's doing? That's the only explanation I can come up with that makes any sort of sense. But that would explain why it's -6. It was -3 before, wasn't it? So it was not 100 to 99 was -3. Now I'm doing algebra to like trying to figure out, solve for x. What is the arbitrary value of supplies units such that for a ratio of 99 to 1 to 100 to 3 to or there's like 2 ratios in there. 199. Yeah, we're gonna sit here and do math. Fuck you. 199 with a subtraction of 3, because I believe that it was 3. Let's assume I had a pool of 300. Because that math would work. So I have 300 minus 3 would be a 1% subtraction. So that would go from 100 to 99. It would explain the 100 days of supplies to 99 days of supplies. If I increase the subtractions to 66, let's assume I have, so 297 units of supplies is now splitting double, but that doesn't work because my days of supplies should have gone to 50. And it should now be at 40. Maybe I had 4 party members. Maybe it was -4. Or maybe the whole thing's a lie. Fuck it. Anyway, this episode's gone on kind of long. But I learned a bunch. Anyway, I'm going to call the episode, and next time, we'll leave camp. This is a wild ride.